What was the economic impact of Perestroika? Have you ever wondered how a series of reforms could change an entire nation? Let's take a closer look at Perestroika and its economic impact on the Soviet Union. Perestroika, which means restructuring, was introduced by Mikhail Gorbachev in the mid-1980s. It aimed to revitalize the Soviet economy, which was struggling at the time. The idea was to introduce some market mechanisms and reduce central control over the economy. One of the key reforms was the Law on State Enterprises, enacted in 1987. This law allowed businesses to operate with more independence. They could now self-finance and be accountable for profits. Another important change was the Cooperative Law of 1988, which permitted private cooperatives to function. These laws marked a shift from strict state control to a more market-oriented approach. Initially, some sectors, particularly services, saw growth. However, the overall industrial and manufacturing sectors faced challenges. The economy was still largely controlled by the state, which created a mismatch between supply and demand. As incomes rose, demand increased, but prices remained fixed. This led to inflation and shortages of consumer goods, with long lines forming for basic items. Enterprises were expected to cover their costs from revenues. However, many still relied on government subsidies or easy loans. This reliance increased debt without improving productivity. The limited autonomy granted to businesses did not include full market mechanisms. Without flexible pricing or private property rights, inefficiencies became common. By 1990, the Soviet economy was in decline. The gross domestic product was shrinking, and inflation was rising. The reforms did not fix the deep-rooted issues within the Soviet economic system. Problems like wasteful production processes and a lack of innovation persisted. This economic turmoil contributed to political instability, weakening the Soviet state. From a broader European history perspective, the economic impact of Perestroika played a significant role in the collapse of the Soviet system. It influenced the transition of Eastern European countries from centrally planned economies to market economies. The failure of Perestroika also helped to end Soviet dominance in the region. In essence, while Perestroika aimed to breathe new life into the Soviet economy, it ultimately led to economic decline, inflation, and shortages. These factors contributed to the eventual collapse of the Soviet Union, leaving a lasting mark on European history in the late 20th century.